everyone. So today in math, we're doing the second lesson of chapter 1. And this lesson is called Read and Write Numbers. Our central question is, how can you read and write numbers through hundred thousands? So I told you guys in the previous lesson how in 4th grade we learn numbers up to the millions place. But we're going to learn how we can read and write numbers through the hundred thousands. So in this little visual to start with, I have 3 different versions of the same number. So if you can notice that this number starts in the thousands place. So when I read this 4, I'm going to read it as 4,000. And that comma tells me I'm now entering into a new period, and this would be 578 because the 5 is in the hundreds place, the 7 is in the tens place, and the 8 is in the ones place. We call this form standard form. Another form of that same number is expanded form. Notice how this number is broken apart into its different place values. So we have the 4,000 standing alone, keeping its value thousands by having placeholder zeros. The 5 stands alone with its placeholder zeros. The 7 stands alone with its placeholder 0, and the 8 stands alone, no placeholder zeros because obviously it's in the ones place. So this is called expanded form when we stretch this number out into its different place values. So it's still 4,578. We're just looking at all of the different digits place values. And the last form we're going to talk about today is word form, where you literally just write that word in word form. So again, this number is 4,578. And that's how we would write it as words. So if you have trouble with the spelling, you might have to look up how to spell some words just so that you're making sure you're spelling these correctly. If you have spelling wrong when you do the exit slip, it might say that it's wrong, but I'll let you resubmit the exit slip if you need to go back and fix some spelling. Okay, so again, here are the 3 forms how we can read and write numbers. So we have standard form, which is how we would typically just normally write a number. So this number is 457,321. So I have my first period, 457 is in the thousands, and then this is in the ones, 321. So we have, again, those different periods. Expanded form is that same number, but again, it's broken up into its different place values. So I want to start with the first digit, 4, and everything after becomes a 0. So it's 400,000. And notice with expanded form, it's important that you put a plus sign in between each of the numbers, because when you're expanding it, you're kind of stretching the number, right, into its different parts. But when we put them all together, when we add them, they should still equal its standard form. So expanded form needs to have those plus signs in between, because when I add 400,000 plus 50,000 plus 7,000 plus 300 plus 20 plus 1, it should still be the same value. So they're the same exact number, we're just looking at it in a different way. Same thing with word form. You want to make sure you keep those numbers in order. So we start again with the 457,000. So that's that first period right here, comma, it goes into the next period, 321. So exactly how you read this number out loud should be how you write it in word form, using that word hundred, using that word thousand. Make sure you're not forgetting those words as well. You're not just writing the digit 457, you know what I mean? Like, you have to actually write the values of those numbers. All right, so talking again about the different periods. So each group of 3 digits is separated by a comma, and it's called a period. And each period has a hundreds place, a tens place, and a ones place. Hundreds, tens, ones. The greatest place value position in the thousands period is the 100,000. So this is the biggest place value in this thousands period. So let's take a look at the number 262,400. It has 2 periods, thousands, and ones, because it has 6 digits. This is how it would look in standard form, how we just normally write that number. How would we write it in word form? Exactly how we read it. This is 262,400. So did I have to write anything for the zeros, the tens and the ones? No, because their value is 0. So same thing here when we write it in expanded form. I would write 200,000 plus 60,000 plus 2,000 plus 400. But do I need to put plus 0 for the tens and ones? No, that would be silly, right? Because it's just like adding nothing. So I would just stop there at the last place value, digit 4. I wouldn't have to keep going. And so then this was how it would look in a place value chart, 262,400. All right, so before we try this, I want to go again to that place value chart I showed you guys before, because what I like about this place value chart, if you notice at the bottom, it gives us its standard form, expanded form, and word form. So right now it's just 0 because we don't have anything. So let's build a number. Let's do 6,782. So as I put the digits into our place value chart, it did the work for me. It showed me standard form, 6,782. It showed me expanded form, 6,000 plus 700 plus 80 plus 2. And it also showed me word form, 6,782. So this is another great tool to use for when you go to do your exit slip, when you go and do your work on Think Central. I'll give you guys again this link in the slides. I'll upload the slides so you can click on the link and use this place value chart. And that might be helpful to help start out with these different forms of numbers because it gives it to you right there. So that's pretty cool. So let's try it. All right, so in this one, we don't know standard form. They gave us word form and they gave us some of expanded form, but we have to find the missing number. So let's read this number in word form and then we can figure out its standard form and the missing number. So the number is 92,170. And I also gave you a place value chart here. You might have drawn one the other day that you could use, or you could use this one on the screen. Thinking about 92,170. So what would that look like in standard form? If you can pause the video to write that out, if you need a minute, that's fine. Write the number 92,170 in standard form. Okay, hopefully you paused the video and you wrote it in standard form. And remember, standard form is when you just write it as a normal number with a comma if it has thousands. All right, and we'll take a look at that answer in a second, but let's find the missing number here. So for 92,170, what number is missing in our expanded form? So if you look at your standard form version, you should have a 9 in your 10,000s place. You should have a 2 in your thousands place. What comes after the thousands? Hopefully you know it's the hundreds. And how many hundreds should there be? It says 100, 170. So they have the 70 here. We're missing the 100. So this would be 90,000 plus 2,000 plus 100 plus 70. All right, and this next one, 200,007. How would you write that in words and how would you write that in expanded form? So they gave us 200. What word actually is missing? This is 200 what? That comma means, hopefully you're thinking 1,000. 200,000, and then what word would we put here? Hopefully you're thinking 7. So this would be 200,000, the word 7. And then expanded form, this one's pretty short. There's only 2 numbers. We would put the 2 and everything after becomes a 0. So that number should be 200,000. So go back and check your work really quick for these two problems. Make sure that you had 92,170, 100,000, 7, and 200,000. All right, so hopefully you had those correct. All right, let's try this one. So I gave you the number, 52,143. I put it in standard form. I want you to try to write it in word form and expanded form. So pause the video. You can use this place value chart if you need to, and think about how you can write this number that's in standard form. How can you write that in word form on this line and expanded form on this line? So you can write this if you have your whiteboard or a paper pencil, and quickly jot down what you think. Okay, hopefully you paused the video and solved that. So let's take a look at your answers. So for word form, you should have 52,143. And notice that I do put a little hyphen in between when there's a 10 and a ones. So 52 gets a hyphen, 43 gets a hyphen. You don't always have to, but typically there would be a hyphen there. If you forget it though, when you do your exit slip, it's not a big deal. And then expanded form is 50,000 plus 2,000 plus 100 plus 40 plus 3. We broke apart this number into each digit with all of its zeros, and hopefully you had that as your answer. All right, so that's it for the lesson. Now you're going to try this out for independent practice. You're going to go to Think Central. I'll upload these slides so you can click right on this link, or you can go into login information to find the link there. You can complete the assignment for 1.2 called Read and Write Numbers on Think Central. You can also complete the attached exit slip in Google Classroom for this lesson. If you want some extra practice, you can do share and show on your own problem solving in your Go Math Chapter 1 workbook that you have at home on page 12 and 13. So I hope that this lesson made sense. If you have trouble, again, comment on the lesson, or remote kids, you can join the after school remote teacher to help you out. If you have any questions, you can ask live there. You got this. You're going to do great, and I can't wait to see all of your hard work.